Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to undertake a pretty challenging mission. We're wading through some dense, really emotionally charged source material to uncover the true cost of great expectations.
Right.
And this deep dive is all about shame, it's about class, and that slow, agonizing realization that ambition, when it's built on a dangerous secret, it's just utterly destructive.
It's such a powerful exploration of how easily a fundamentally decent person, and Pip is a decent person at his core, can be sort of trained to despise his own origins.
Yes.
And to sacrifice real deep affection for the promise of social status. We're tracking his journey from those grim marshes all the way to London society.
And what we're really looking for, our mission here, is to find the truly startling criminal origins of the wealth that fuels his entire rise.
Yes, exactly.
So we have to start with the atmosphere. I mean, you can't understand Pip's fear, his whole moral landscape, without first grasping the setting of the marshes.
Oh, absolutely not. The sources describe it so vividly. These long, flat lines of mud, the lonely gallows out on the horizon, and of course, the chilling presence of the hulks.
The prison ships, just anchored right there across the water. Terrifying.
And that landscape is instantly personified for him in that first encounter. I mean, the sheer terror of it. He's seized by an escaped convict turned completely upside down.
And the convict demands two things, right? Two things that really set the entire story in motion.
A file and whittles. Food. That one terrifying moment immediately brands Pip's childhood with crime and with fear.
And the fear doesn't just stay in the marshes. His home life, with his sister, Mrs. Joe, is, well, it's harsh.
It's full of resentment. We're told she's constantly complaining about bringing him up by hand. Her main tool of discipline was a leather strap she called the tickler.
And when she got really angry, she was on the rampage.
Yes. But then you have the contrast to that domestic terror, which is Joe Gargery, the kind blacksmith.
He's just this simple, protecting presence. Joe never judges. He treats Pip, I think the source says, as a larger species of child.
And his most profound act of love, scooping half a pint of gravy onto Pip's plate at dinner, that quiet, constant goodness is there from the very, very beginning.
It's so tragic, then, that this simple, honest love is the very thing Pip is conditioned to throw away. And the mechanism for that is Sodus House. Tell us about that place. It's a trap, isn't it?
It's a deliberate monument to bitterness. The sources paint this oppressive picture. The clock is frozen at 20 minutes to 9. The windows are walled up.
And Miss Havisham herself.
A ghost, still in her decaying bridal dress, surrounded by cobwebs, decay, the remains of this wedding feast that's been rotting for decades. The whole house is built to stop time and just harbor resentment.
And Estella is the instrument of that resentment. She's basically engineered to inflict maximum emotional damage.
Right. She immediately goes for the weakest point. She points out Pip's coarse hands and his thick boots, and that one comment just implants this deep, deep sense of shame in him.
And that cruelty wasn't an accident. It was the entire point.
The whole point. Miss Havisham tells us she raised Estella to be loved, but her ultimate instruction was just monstrous. She says, break their hearts, my pride and hope, break their hearts and have no mercy.
She weaponized a child.
Completely, as a proxy for her own broken heart.
So Pip is trained to worship a girl whose only purpose is to despise him. Does one cruel comment really have the power to erase a whole childhood of affection? Because Sodus House immediately poisons how he feels about the forge.
It doesn't erase it, but it deeply contaminates it. Pip walks away with this intense dissatisfaction. He stops seeing the honest old forge and Joe's simple love as valuable.
He starts seeing them as signs of his own low status.
Exactly. He sees them as coarse. And that is the true cost of that visit. It's the beginning of his moral self-betrayal.
And that dissatisfaction, of course, makes him the perfect target for what comes next. This sudden, massive intervention that just changes everything. The announcement of his great expectation.
It just arrives out of nowhere. A lawyer, the very severe Mr. Jaggers, shows up and says Pip has a fortune. But the key rule is secrecy.
He gets a huge allowance, but he's strictly forbidden from trying to find out who his benefactor is. The money is powerful, but that mystery, that's corrosive.
It is. And Jaggers himself is. Well, he's a study in this kind of calculated separation from his work. We're told he washes his hands constantly with scented soap.
As if he's trying to scrub off the taint of his clients. His whole philosophy is chilling. Take nothing on its looks, take everything on evidence. But what I find really disturbing is his office decor.
Ah, yes. The two casts of celebrated murderers on his shelf, former clients. And he even notes they got us a world of credit.
He tells you everything about his moral universe. Success is just about winning the case. Morality doesn't enter into it, only evidence.
Right.
But wait, if Jagger's all about cold, hard evidence, how do you explain his clerk, Wemmick? I mean, he's running this theatrical fortress in his backyard. It seems like more than just professionalism.
That's the key insight. Wemmick is the living embodiment of the idea that you cannot survive in that world and maintain your integrity. In the office, in Little Britain, he's dry, he's serious, he has a post office mouth.
And he gives that cold advice, right? Invest portable property in a friend. Certainly he should not.
But then you follow him home to Walworth, and he's living in a completely separate reality. He lives in the castle, a fortified home.
With a functioning drawbridge, a flagstaff,
Right.
even a cannon called the Stinger.
He literally pulls up the drawbridge every night. It's a symbolic barrier between his professional darkness and his private goodness. At Walworth, he keeps his moral life safe. He cares for the aged parent. He courts Miss Skiffins.
Whose figure is described like a boy's kite.
It's delightful. The point is, Wemmick shows that in this world of ambition and law, you have to literally build a fortress to keep your morality safe from your paycheck.
Meanwhile, Pip's rise means he fully embraces the shame that Estella put on him. When Joe visits him in London wearing his uncomfortable state boots, Pip is just mortified.
He's too self-absorbed and ashamed to even look Joe in the eye.
It's a devastating scene. And Joe, in his humble dignity, he understands what's happened to Pip so much better than Pip does.
He does. As he leaves, he delivers that profoundly sad piece of wisdom. Divisions among such must come. I'm wrong in these clothes. I'm wrong out of the forge. Joe knows who he is, and he respects himself in that. Pip only sees the social gap.
And Pip's comfortable London life, built on all this shame and secrecy, is about to be violently upended. The real source of his fortune returns.
It's the ultimate reversal. The benefactor is Magwitch, the convict from the marshes.
The very same one. He risks the death penalty. He even says it's death to come back, just to see the gentleman he created. He literally proclaims, "I've made a gentleman on you."
And his life story is just tragic in its simplicity. In jail and out of jail, in jail and out of jail.
So Pip's entire grand lifestyle, the clothes, the apartment, the education, it wasn't funded by Miss Havisham's elite world. It was funded by the hard-earned, possibly illicit money of the criminal who terrified him as a boy.
And Magwitch explains his own trial, which connects directly to this theme of appearance. His co-conspirator, a man named Compeyson, was educated and gentlemanly.
So he used that against Magwitch.
Absolutely. He leveraged his appearance against Magwitch, the common sort of a wretch, and got a much lighter sentence. It confirms that the justice system, just like society, is rigged by how you look.
And this is where all the threads start to twist into this fascinating dark knot of crime. We discover these connections that link Pip's fortune, his ambition, and even the source of his shame.
The revelation is stunning. Estella, the object of Pip's upper-class ambition, is the daughter of Magwitch, the convict who funded it.
And there's more. Her mother is Molly, Jagger's silent, terrifying housekeeper.
The same woman with the incredible wrist strength that Jaggers is always showing off. He took her on after she was implicated in a murder.
So Jaggers secretly adopted their child, Estella, and gave her to Miss Havisham for her twisted project.
Yes. So Estella's entire existence, Miss Havisham's revenge, Pip's wealth, Jagger's career, it's all tied together by this web of criminal history, murder, and hidden parentage. Pip's entire life is built on crime.
And to make the danger even more immediate, there's a final enemy, Orlick from the Forge. He's revealed as the one who attacked Mrs. Joe using the same leg iron file Magwitch had given Pip years before.
And he threatens Pip, warning him that Compeyson, Magwitch's old rival, is also in London. He makes the danger crystal clear. Where Compeyson, Magwitch, and the gallows.
The threat is real, which forces Pip and Herbert into this desperate escape plan. They have to row Magwitch out to a steamer, heading for Hamburg or Rotterdam before he's caught and hanged.
They get out on the river, rowing the galley. You can feel the tension. But just as the steamer approaches, a police boat shoots out from the bank.
And it all falls apart.
In that chaotic climax, Magwitch recognizes the other man in the police boat. It's Compeyson. He's been betrayed one last time.
They go overboard together.
Fiercely locked in each other's arms, Magwitch is captured, badly injured in the chest, and shackled.
And this moment, this is Pip's ultimate moral reckoning, isn't it?
Okay.
He's forced to see the man, not the label. His repugnance melted away.
He no longer sees a criminal. He sees a man who had meant to be my benefactor and who had felt affectionately, gratefully, and generously towards me.
And that's the turning point.
It is. Pip realizes that the convict who risked everything for him was, quote, a much better man than I'd been to Joe. The true measure of a person is constancy and affection, not status.
But it takes loss and suffering for him to finally get there. After Magwitch dies peacefully in prison, Pip falls desperately ill. And who comes back to London to nurse him?
Dear old Joe. He nurses Pip with such tenderness, calling him old chap again, just restoring that simple early bond they had.
It's that return to simple affection that cures him of his false ambition. He finally understands that his great expectations had all dissolved, like our own marsh mists before the sun.
And when he finally returns home, cured, ready to commit to the life he'd once scorned, he finds Beatty and Joe have married.
So his redemption isn't in reclaimed wealth. It's in honest work. He goes abroad and joins Herbert Pocket and his wife, Clara, in a successful business.
So if you distill the central takeaway from all this, it's that a life built on secrecy and social climbing is, well, it's inherently hollow.
Oh.
True wealth, the kind that lasts, is in constancy and affection.
The whole apparatus of that society, Miss Havisham's decay, Jagger's cynicism, Pip's shame, it was all just a fragile network of secrets built on old, ugly crimes.
Exactly.
So we have to ask you to consider Joe's quiet philosophy one last time. Joe understood his place and respected his craft. He said, one man's a blacksmith and one's a whitesmith. The visions among such must come. Did Pip really need to lose everything, suffer through that sickness, and travel all the way abroad just to learn the simple, fundamental self-respect and dignity that Joe Gargery possessed all along?